Okay, welcome everyone. Raphael is on the call today, and this is the first time we're speaking. Raphael is going to share a little bit about who he is, uh, where you're located in the
Yes,
world, and your background. That would be awesome. Thank you so
yes.
much.
Hello, everybody. Thanks for joining in. My name is Rafael. I am a medical student right now, and I'm about to graduate to get my medical degree. I had ACL. I tore my ACL like 6 years ago, and I had a reconstruction surgery using hamstring tendon. I was relatively fine, but sometimes when I did deadlifts or squats, I had a low grade pain. But it was sometimes yes, sometimes absent. Um, a few weeks ago, the pain really started to creep up. So I started looking online for natural solutions, and I ended up in Bill, your page. So I was really impressed by the way you make a questionnaire so the person can feel the characteristics of the pain, and then you give a personalized video. So I did the exercises you explained, and really I thought I was going to have chronic pain for the rest of my life. Also, when I squatted, every time I squatted, I had a cringing noise in my knee, and I thought that was just a product of the surgery, and I was going to have to deal with that. After doing the exercises, Bill, you told me to do, really the noise went away and the pain also. Right now, the noise that was bothering me comes and goes, but before it was constant always, and now I know there may be a solution, a rehabilitation way to get rid of that was bothering me. So I really want to thank you, Bill, from the bottom of my heart, because you really changed my paradigm. I thought I was going to have to deal with that chronic pain uh, forever, for the rest of my life, and now I know there may be a solution. So I want to thank you, and I want to tell you that the information about health I also want to put to as many people as possible. So I am really glad that we can have this conversation online. I mean, it is like you said, we didn't know each other, but making a Skype call, we can now
Mhm.
talk like brain to brain almost, because the internet allows us to humans communicate in such a direct way. So I'm really thankful for
Yeah,
that.
you're absolutely welcome.
Mhm.
And for those that just the context of what's going on here, Raphael was starting to ask me really great questions based
Yes,
on his background, and I was
yes,
like, "Oh, hold on, let's
okay,
record this."
yes,
Because I think it would benefit more than just Raphael and myself. So please
yes.
go ahead, Raphael, ask
So
those
so
questions.
I was going to ask you, Bill, a little bit about the mechanisms of why stretching the knee joint in a certain way can alleviate the pressure. Also, I think the thought that your knee is going to heal also contributes, because we know from science that the placebo effect does have an effect on the body. So I don't know to what extent the stretches and the relief of pressure takes a role, or can you talk a little bit more about why does stretching your knees in a certain way relieve the pressure, relieve the pain?
Got it. Okay, let's. I'd really like to address the mind
Yes,
component first. The placebo effect is a real thing.
yes,
However, what happens is there's lots of people that want to can sit there and think all day long
mm-hmm.
that their knee pain is going to go away, or they've been told that it's all in their head, yet they still have knee pain.
Yeah.
So there's another end of that spectrum. There's the mind on the one end, there's the body on the other.
Mm-hmm.
And we have to have a positive mindset, absolutely. But just because we have a positive mindset doesn't mean the body's going to get out of pain. So, in order to reinforce the mind component of it, we have to give a physical experience to the
Mm-hmm.
body that it's possible.
Okay.
So, by addressing it physically, we could we could
you,
calm
you
the
can
mind.
you can elicit a response from the body. Like,
Exactly.
the way I see it is like a nerve stimulation on your knee joint. Maybe, I don't know, it's a hypothesis. Well, we do know that the thoughts that we have on our mind make a change in the composition of our blood. They release certain chemicals. So I don't
Absolutely.
know, anti-inflammatory or anti-inflammatory substances depending on the stimulus. So I guess there is a connection, definitely, that we, even the medical doctors, we don't really understand how the mind affects the body. But we now know it does. For example, we know that the stressful thoughts increase the release of cortisol in the bloodstream, and that increases inflammation in general in all of the body. So I think it's really interesting the how your mind can have an effect on seemingly chronic pain like knee pain. Also, Bill, I was going to ask you a little bit about that noise that I
Yeah, let's get back to the you were
Okay,
asking about
yes,
the stretch
yes.
stretch piece.
Yes.
So what we're doing when we're working with the knee is we have to understand the source of pain. The source of pain is irritation of nerves in the knee that causes the body to tense up and experience pain. When the body experiences pain, it tenses up and reduces the space in the joint. Just like if we were to sit there and squeeze our fist, we can squeeze enough that the hand actually hurts.
Yeah.
The knee does it on its own. That irritation or that reduction of space from the pain irritates the nerves more, causing more pain. So it creates what I refer to as a pain tension loop.
Okay.
The more pain we feel, the less space we have, the more pain we feel.
Okay.
And it just compounds over our life. That's why people are like, it doesn't matter what I do, my knee continues to hurt. Yeah. So at this point, if we do any exercise from that place of pain, it's just going to make the joint actually squeeze tighter and degenerate faster.
Yeah.
So what the stretch that you did, what we did is we created what I refer to as a pain pattern interrupt.
Okay.
Where we get the pressure off of the nerves that are only the width of an eyelash, which creates space and is comfortable. So it begins to reverse that process of the pain tension loop. The more comfort we create, the more space is created, the more comfortable it is, the more space. Yeah. So now, and you're, I think, 24?
Yes,
I think,
I
right.
I'm
so
24, yes.
Your body is going to respond very quickly to that. You know, your body hasn't had like years and years of stress and tension and,
maybe lesions in other places, because the knee is one factor, but if you have pain in several joints, that affects your posture as a whole.
Yep.
And that creates more pressure. As you say, it's a cycle that keeps ramping up.
Right. So the first step in that process is creating those pain pattern interrupts, and that sets up the conditions for the body to be able to heal itself because it reduces cortisol levels. It moves the body from a sympathetic state into a parasympathetic state. For those that aren't in with the lingo, what I'm talking about is it essentially relaxes the body.
Yes.
And when the body relaxes, it's able to heal itself faster.
Yes, that is also a philosophy that I predicate upon, because we know that the body has its repair mechanisms, and all we have to do is allow them to take place. But if we have a lifestyle that is not permitting our body to heal itself, it won't. What factors in the lifestyle mostly affect this? I think stress is one huge one. Also, our quality of sleep, because we know, as you say, the anabolism, the repair mechanisms in our body, we know that the sleep, a part of our day, is when they are the most active. So yes, that's what I would like to comment on what you just said.
Yeah, absolutely. And then you were going to ask me another question.
Yeah. Apart from the low-grade chronic pain that I had in my knee, also every time I squatted, I heard like a cringing noise, or maybe like a Velcro sounding noise every time I squatted and I went up. And that created a lot of stress, because I knew that I couldn't move without hearing that noise. I thought that was going to be there just as a byproduct of the surgery, but now I know that there may be a way to rehabilitate that. So I just wanted to ask you a little bit about if it is common to hear noises in the joint, maybe when you squat, or maybe for other people it is during other activities. Can you comment a little bit on that?
Yeah, I mean, noise in the joint, the knee is a hinge joint. It bends and extends. Yeah. And the body is a series of pulleys and levers based on that hinge joint. They all have to work together. And if you have tension in an area because of pain. The body is stuck in the pain tension loop. It causes the joint to squeeze together tighter.
Yeah.
And when it squeezes together tighter, it can move the synovial fluid out of the joint. It can squeeze the hydration out of the joint, which causes, if you have something that's not lubricated, now it's going to be noisier. It's just like an engine or a wheel bearings in a tire that doesn't have grease in it. You squeeze the grease out, the seal gets broken, and now the tire makes all sorts of noise.
Yeah.
And it's the same thing with the joint. If there's too much tension in the joint, there's not enough hydration in the joint or water in the joint, synovial fluid in the joint, then what happens is the joint gets noisy. It's just like a machine.
Do you have tips or strategies to maintain ourselves hydrated? Like Captain Obvious is to drink water, but are there any tips that you can improve your?
It's not just. You would think it's the Captain Obvious thing to just drink water, but it's more than that. There's layers.
Yes.
Because we can drink water, but if the body doesn't have the right mineral balance to actually absorb the water from outside of the cell to inside of the cell, it needs a certain amount of sodium in order to absorb the water.
Yeah.
But then we have a conventional approach to looking at the body that says too much salt is bad for you.
Yeah, right.
Too much of the bad salt is bad for you. So if we're taking a natural, like a sea salt, into the equation, now the body has the mineral balance to be able to absorb the water that we're drinking.
Yes, because the conventional medical advice is to cut down salt, but we have to remember that the salt that is in our kitchen, usually it is not a variety of minerals. It is just sodium and chloride. Or chlorine.
Yeah.
So that is not natural salt as we would have found in nature. If we ingest richer salts with diverse classes of minerals, that will feed our body. It's the nutrition that our body needs, as you are saying.
Yep. Yeah. So it's a multi-layered approach. We can't just, and that's what many people. They take a subsection of what I'm talking about or the approach for eliminating knee pain and they just look at that. But if you just take that out of context, then none of the other stuff it doesn't work because it's only a part of the bigger picture. So we have, like I said, you could drink water, but your body's not absorbing water. And I'm running to the bathroom every 5 minutes and now it's like, well, Bill's program doesn't work.
Yeah.
But we need to make sure the minerals are there. I actually have a recipe on my website, the original Gatorade, which is how to mix water with the salt, with some lemon and things like that to make a drink. So now it makes the water accessible to your body.
Yes. So hydration. I see why you're saying it is a vital part of making your joints better. Do you have any other strategies aside from hydration to improve the quality of the joint, of the function of the joint?
I have 3 steps in my program. There's physical, there's diet, there's mindset. The physical piece we already went over as far as the pain tension loop, the pain pattern interrupts. We're touching on the second point, which is the diet. And what we're ultimately talking about is inflammation.
Yes.
Inflammation locally in the knee, globally in the body.
Yes.
We have to address both of those areas of inflammation. When the knee hurts, the joint is inflamed.
Yes.
It's irritated somehow. The pain causes inflammation. But we also have global inflammation in the body as a result of the food that we eat, the water that we drink, the air that we breathe. The nature of being human and the stress that we're under causes global inflammation.
Especially in this day and age.
Right.
Where our lifestyle is so different from what nature designed us for.
Right.
Or we evolved for. Or whatever point of view you have. It is really interesting. And the mindset, it is really deep.
I'll get to the mindset in just a second. But so we reduce the inflammation both locally in the knee and globally in the body. It frees up the resources that the body needs to heal.
Yeah.
You have a lot of people that are going for stem cell injections into their knee to regrow cartilage and meniscus.
Mm.
But you know that stem cells are produced in the bones.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And when we have that total amount of inflammation in the body, those stem cells never can get to the knee. The joints are minor. Joints are low on the totem pole in terms of priority in the body. So all of the stem cells go to the intestines
Okay.
and
Yes.
to the brain to keep the body alive.
Okay.
So we reduce that total amount of inflammation. We free up the resources. Now the stem cells, the body has the innate wisdom.
Yeah.
It'll send the stem cells to the knee to start healing the knee because it has an overabundance of resources at that point.
Mm-hmm.
And then the last piece, mindset.
Yeah.
The mindset piece, we have to rein the body in. The reality of getting out of knee pain is it's not linear.
Yeah.
You're going to have good days, you're going to have bad days. That's how it is.
Mm-hmm.
On the bad days, we have to keep ourselves in check and not do things that are going to make the bad day be longer.
Okay.
I have a client, and when she gets depressed because of her knee pain, she eats chocolate. The chocolate has sugar. Sugar causes inflammation. Inflammation causes the knee to hurt worse. And now she's got to deal not only with what her body was trying to recover from, but the sugar from the chocolate in addition to that. So that's when the knee pain is bad, but also when you create the pain pattern interrupts and we get the pressure off of the nerves, the knee feels pretty good.
Yeah.
So what people will do is they'll go right back and they'll run a 5K or they'll go exercise a lot and throw themselves right back into pain thinking their knee is healed.
Mm-hmm.
But we haven't given it enough time to heal. So it's a 3-step approach, and if something's not working, we have to go and look at the physical, the diet, or the mindset as to why it isn't working.
Mm-hmm. And how much time do you think? Well, obviously every person is different, but how much time would you say from the time you stop feeling as much pain until the time you can take your physical activities as usual? What based on what do we evaluate and make decisions? What
we have to test the body.
Okay.
It isn't like the most people think that it's like either I'm in pain and I have to do RICE therapy. I sit on the couch, rest, ice, compression, elevation.
Yes.
Or I'm exercising, doing physical therapy. But there's this huge gap.
Yes.
Huge gap that it's like we start getting the body out of pain and we start increasing the activities in an intelligent way that builds confidence into your movement. And if we start let's say with walking or something like that, and you go for a half a mile walk or a kilometer walk or whatever it is, and you have pain, then do the pain pattern interrupts and make sure you're reducing the inflammation to bring it down so the body can recover faster.
Oh, okay.
It's all about recovery.
Yes, and it also comes to my mind that it depends. It makes an impact the environment in which you are making the exercise. For example, if you walk around your neighborhood, it is not the same as if you go to a forest, for example, and to a calm walk, because the environment solicits a response from our body, from our brain. It changes the hormones. So that I think also to the exercise never has to be something stressful, something that we have to damage ourselves doing, but it is just a relaxing activity that stimulates recovery. That I would say.
Yeah. Did you have any other questions?
No, mainly because after the exercises you told me to do, really the pain went away almost 100%. And the noise that was bothering me, it sometimes is present, sometimes it is not. But I thought it was going to be a constant for the rest of my life. So I wanted to thank you, Bill, really, and
you're welcome.
to making time for to have a conversation like this. I think you really are helping a lot of people, me included. So really, I really appreciate it.
You're welcome, and your role is going to be really important.
Yeah,
you're going to be a doctor.
You have impact the way I perceive medicine to some extent. So the impact you have made will continue in the people that I work with in my clinical practice.
Mm-hmm.
So
Yeah,
thank
that
you.
you're very welcome, and I'm so glad you're open to it,
Yeah.
because that's a big part too. The possibilities
Yes.
are there if the mind is open to those possibilities. So,
Yes.
well, cool. Do you have any closing comments you'd like to share?
Uh, Uh, well, I would like to say again that the body has its repair mechanisms that they work if we allow them to work. But by having, among other things, a lifestyle that facilitates recovery. So, and from a medical point of view, I can say it is rooted in evidence. The fact that the body knows how to heal itself, and sometimes by taking too aggressive approaches. For example, if our first approach to knee pain is surgery, probably we're going to do permanent damage that it is less likely to be able to heal itself as quickly.
Mm-hmm.
So I think the natural approach is probably a lot better than other options.
Great.
So,
Well,
okay.
okay, Raphael, I'm gonna stop the recording here.
Yes.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, Bill.
And
And
let's
it,
see.